Spiritual Manthan.
Hey there, have you ever noticed that just when you're about to make a big move in your life, maybe switching careers, starting a new project, or even opening up emotionally, something inside you goes, nope, that's too scary. We've all been there. Today, we're talking about why your ego absolutely panics whenever you dare to step outside your comfort zone, and more importantly, how to overcome that resistance so you can unlock genuine, exciting personal growth. Picture this. You've been dreaming for years about writing a book, launching a podcast, or traveling the world. You finally muster up the courage to take the first step, and you feel this rush of energy like you're unstoppable, right? But then, out of nowhere, doubt sneaks in. Suddenly, you're overwhelmed by questions. Am I good enough? What if I fail? Am I just fooling myself? That uneasy, jittery feeling in the pit of your stomach isn't just random nerves. That's your ego hitting the brakes, shouting, "Hold on, this could go wrong." Why does that happen? Well, our egos really love predictability. They're like that friend who always wants to go to the same restaurant, order the same meal, and sit at the same table. Comfort is their jam. When we talk about the ego, we're referring to the part of your mind that craves stability, a sense of being in control, and a well-defined identity. It's the voice that whispers, "Let's not change anything, because at least we know what to expect here." It's not trying to be evil or sabotage you for fun, really. It's just terrified of the unknown. But here's the kicker. The unknown is where the magic happens. Whether it's learning a new skill, meeting new people, or digging into some life-changing project, real transformation doesn't occur when we're stuck repeating the same safe routines. It happens out there in the territory that makes your heart race and your ego freak out. The ego panics because it sees every new possibility as a threat to the little identity it's built. It's like a castle made of sand. The moment a new wave of change comes in, that castle feels like it might crumble. Let's take a simple example. Maybe you decide to start posting your art online. At first, you're excited. You're thinking about how fun it will be to share your creativity with the world. But the moment you press upload, you might feel a surge of anxiety. Thoughts like, what if people hate my art? What if no one even cares? Start looping in your head. Your ego is freaking out because by sharing your work, you're stepping away from the safe bubble where nobody judges you. Even if that bubble was suffocating your potential, at least it felt secure. That's exactly what the ego does. It magnifies every single possible mishap, every fear, and every negative scenario to keep you in line. Essentially, it's like an overprotective parent who sees danger everywhere. Don't climb that tree. You'll fall. Don't invest in that dream. You'll fail. Don't open your heart. You'll get hurt. While it might keep you physically and emotionally protected, it also keeps you from discovering what's beyond that tree, that dream, or that new relationship. So how do you handle it when your ego starts panicking? The first step is recognizing that fear is a natural part of the process. Seriously, if you're feeling that wave of dread right before doing something new, it often means you're onto something good. You're challenging an old narrative about who you thought you were and what you believed you could do. The intensity of your ego's panic can actually be a sign you're moving toward real growth. It's like the alarm system is blaring precisely because a breakthrough is around the corner. Now, let's talk about the role of discomfort. We usually run from discomfort because, well, it's uncomfortable. But think of it like going to the gym. The first time you try lifting heavier weights, it hurts. Your muscles burn, and every cell in your body might be screaming, "Stop." But if you push through that initial burn responsibly and keep going, you get stronger. Similarly, every time you confront your ego's resistance and keep going, you're essentially strengthening your personal growth muscles. That's how you build courage, resilience, and an unshakable belief in your ability to adapt. Let's use an analogy. Your ego is like a guard dog. Its job is to bark loudly at anything new or unusual to protect the house, your sense of self. If you want to train that dog, you don't punish it or get rid of it. You teach it that certain noises aren't threats at all. Eventually, the dog starts barking less because it learns to trust you. In the same way, when you show your ego that trying new things doesn't always end in disaster, it begins to panic less. It's not about silencing or destroying the ego. It's about getting it to chill out so you can explore life's possibilities without constant alarm bells ringing in your head. But I won't lie, it can get pretty messy. Growth isn't some neat straight line where everything seamlessly falls into place. It's more like a winding road with random potholes, unexpected turns, and maybe a few scary bridges you have to cross. You might feel totally confident one day and be second-guessing everything the next. That's normal. The key is not to interpret those moments of doubt as signs to slam on the brakes and do a U-turn. Instead, see them as mile markers showing that you're actually getting somewhere. Now, let's talk about stories specifically. The stories you tell yourself. Maybe you've been telling yourself for years that you're not a math person, or you're too shy to speak in public, or you'll never be good at running a business. Those stories become like an old, comfortable sweater you keep wearing even after it's full of holes. Your ego clings to these narratives because they give it a sense of familiarity. Changing that story means stepping into the unknown. But here's the truth: if you're feeling any urge to break out of those old limits, that's a big hint that you're ready to let go of that ratty sweater of self-doubt. So what do you do when your ego frantically waves those old stories in your face? Talk back. Challenge that inner chatter. When the voice says, "Who do you think you are to try something so ambitious?" you can respond, "I'm someone who's ready to learn and grow. That's who." Or when it says, "Stay in your lane. You'll only fail," you might counter, "What if I succeed, or at least learn something valuable?" This isn't about shutting down fear entirely. It's about inviting curiosity and possibility into the conversation. In other words, shift your internal dialogue from "I can't" to "Let's see what happens if I try." Another helpful approach is to reframe your idea of failure. Your ego treats failure like it's the worst possible outcome. But in reality, stumbling is often the best teacher. Think about toddlers learning to walk. They fall down all the time, but they keep getting back up because somewhere deep down, they know it's worth it to master that skill. As adults, we sometimes lose that fearless curiosity. We start equating failing with "I'm worthless" or "I shouldn't have tried." But what if each fall is actually part of the learning curve, part of that unstoppable process of becoming who you're meant to be? Try to notice how you feel right before a breakthrough. Often, it's that moment of maximum panic where your ego screams, "Turn back now." It's like a cliffhanger in a movie right before the hero takes the leap. If you push through that moment, you'll often find clarity on the other side. It's almost like the universe loves to test your commitment right when you're at the edge of something amazing. So if you're freaking out and wondering if you're doing the right thing, there's a pretty good chance you're on the threshold of genuine change. You might be wondering, "Okay, so I just plow through the fear?" Sort of. But it's less about forcing yourself and more about understanding what's happening, then gently moving forward anyway. Sometimes you'll need a bit of extra help, maybe a mentor, a friend, or even a therapist to keep you steady when your ego is spiraling. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to go it alone. Think of it like having a spotter when you're lifting those heavy emotional weights. They're there to catch you if you stumble so you can keep pushing without crushing yourself under the burden of fear. Another key tip: celebrate every step you take, even if it feels tiny. Did you finally tell someone about your business idea? Great. Did you write one page of your book? Awesome. Did you sign up for that class you've been too nervous to try? That's huge. Every time you do something new, you're proving to your ego that the world didn't end, that you can handle it. Over time, these small wins add up, and your ego starts to get the message. Okay, maybe we can do this. And here's a wonderful twist. As you learn to manage your ego's panic, you actually discover a deeper sense of self underneath all that noise. The part of you that's curious, open, and ready to evolve gets stronger and louder. You start to see challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as invitations to expand. And once that mindset clicks into place, you become practically unstoppable. That's the essence of personal transformation, finding that sweet spot where you recognize the panic for what it is, a moment of growth, and you choose to keep going anyway. So if you're feeling that rush of anxiety, that pulse of doubt, or that voice in your head begging you to retreat, take it as a sign that you're actually doing something right. It means you're nudging the boundaries of who you thought you were, making space for a bigger, braver version of yourself. Yes, the process can be uncomfortable. Yes, your ego will try every trick in the book to maintain control. But remember, growth isn't about staying comfortable. It's about discovering what's possible beyond your old limits. To wrap up, I want you to keep this one thought in mind. The moment your ego panics is the moment you're on the brink of genuine transformation. Instead of seeing that panic as a red light, start seeing it as a yellow light. Slow down, pay attention, but keep moving forward. You have so much untapped potential, so many hidden talents, and so many experiences waiting for you just outside the perimeter of your comfort zone. Don't let a moment of fear rob you of a lifetime of fulfillment. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you felt your ego flipping out right when you were on the verge of a big leap? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you found this helpful, feel free to hit that like button or pass this message along to someone who might be battling their own ego's panic right now. As always, I'm sending you a big dose of encouragement. You've got this. Keep going, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.